Today, I would like to share how ableism affects us based on personal experiences. It is a delightful evening. DP walks into a bar and said, I would like to have a cup of margarita. Thank you. And a few minutes later, the bartender came back and said, okay, sir, here's your non-alcoholic mock margarita. Enjoy your nights. As I haven't mentioned before, DP is a person with Down syndrome, and it is not his first time walking into a regular bar and ordering an alcoholic drink but receiving a mocktail instead. The bartender probably think they helped DP because the bartender commonly perceived that Down syndrome cannot drink alcohol, and therefore, without any further asking, they served them non-alcoholic drinks. Nevertheless, such absurd occasions are not only happening on DP. Although modern-day society has become more welcoming and inclusive, it is rare to see someone humiliate people with disabilities publicly. However, it does not mean that the stigmatization and the stereotype of disabilities has completely eliminated. To start with my speech, I would like to define a critical term that I'm going to use in my speech today, ableism. Ableism is the assumption that the quality of life of people with disability must be very low. Today in my speech, I would like to address the undetectable ableism in our society today. Growing up, we are often taught to help the less fortunate as a virtue. However, there's a missing premise of the phrase when it comes to our treatment of disability. That is, the virtue itself are often exercised without consent, but solely based on our assumption of the abilities toward the disabilities. I remember there's one time I was visiting my siblings' elementary school, and there was a girl in his class who had a slight Tourette syndrome. Here, I'd like to define Tourette syndrome briefly. Tourette syndrome is a condition that causes people to tick, which means it's a sudden twitch or movement or sound that people makes repetitively. Yet, it does have no effect on people's mobility, which means people can still move, walk, stand perfectly. When the teacher asked all of the students in class to stand up and show their works, the teacher made this girl sit exceptionally on her chair to present her work, regardless that the girl could perfectly stand up, just like anyone else's in this classroom. The teacher assumed that the girl needs help because she assumed the girl who is labeled as a disability is disabled from doing anything else. To help someone with defects based on a single assumption is not a help, but it reinforces the harmful stereotype and also strip individuals from their opportunity to engage on equal footings with their peers. Later, when it comes to playtime, when everyone is running around in a chasing game, the chaser will never go chase the girl because they're trying to help. The assumption that the girl having a condition might get injured if she runs. Therefore, they thought they were protecting this girl. Yet, regardless, the girl did not have any limbs defect at all. This is a very undetectable form of ableism when people make typical assumptions of disability needs. People assume that those who are disabled are desperately looking for helps from others, and this assumption reflects the effect that the societal ableism has a substantially affecting our way of perceiving disabilities. Based on the societal stereotypes toward those who have disability, we assume that they are inferior than us. We assume that they need our help. Whether it is the misconception in the classroom or the misconception with the bar, the underlying ableism always exists. A student with a Tourette syndrome does not need a vigorous applause just because she can stand up and run on the playground. They do not need our encouragement to do common things. They do not need our special help if they do not ask for it. They just wanted to be treated like anybody else's, regardless of how people perceive, regardless of how people think the task is challenging for them or not. Yet, I'm not trying to solicit anyone to be indifferent when we see someone has disabilities needs help. Rather, I'm asking for you to jump out of the stereotypical conception of disabilities, and before you try to help, remember to ask them, do you need help first? And it is a small but a significant move towards where assistance is not presumptively imposed, but it is thoughtfully offered, avoiding the undetectable ableism. Thank you.